So that explains those two. But the thing I find most interesting about this revelation is the fact that Arukenimon and Mummymon were apparently unaware of this fact. Now I thought that could have led to like an interesting rift between the three because Mummymon is shown to be very concerned by this. He's shown kind of freaking out a little bit after this is revealed. So I thought this was going to come into play like later on with some infighting, with like Arukenimon and Mummymon fighting with Oikawa like, oh, why didn't you tell us sooner? Why didn't you tell us that we weren't Digimon? Or why didn't you tell us we were actually from the real world? And something I guess could have been done with that, but there wasn't really a whole lot of time left in the season for that conflict to be developed, so it's kind of just dropped, which sucks for me because I would have liked to see that. But then again, I would have just liked to see more with these characters because I like them so much. In fact, you know, we're going to talk about this now. We're going to talk about the relationship that these three have and why I love them so much. Because really, Oikawa's not in this season that much. I mean, he's the villain of the third arc, but he's absent for most of it because so much of the arc focuses on like going around the world. And then when he is introduced to the story and becomes a character in it, almost all the scenes he has are just him explaining his plan or the show giving him backstory. And once you explain who he is and what he's trying to do, you've pretty much summarized everything that goes on with him during the third arc minus what happens in the finale, which I'm saving for a whole nother episode. But I want to talk about this now because whenever I think about the things I really like about O2, I come up with this list. I love the introduction of human villains into the Digimon franchise. I love the episode where Kari goes to the Dark Ocean. I thought that was very well done. And I adore any episode that has copious amounts of scenes with Arukenimon, Oikawa, or Mummymon. And I've been trying to think about why. And I think I've come up with a couple reasons why. First off, design standpoint, I'm going to go back to this. I love Oikawa's design. I think he looks creepy. He's villainous looking. His jacket, I think it looks very, well, let's just say it looks magnificent with all of its beautiful purple. Also, red shirt with black tie is always a great combination. And his outfit to me, you know, signifies that he is in control. I get this sort of boss-like vibe from him. And I think it matches design-wise very well with Arukenimon and Mummimon's outfits. And the color choice for him, purple, also I think works really well with this group. Because Oikawa's jacket is purple, or violet, as some people call it. And violet is made up of a combination of blue and red, the two dominant colors in Mummymon and Arukenimon's outfits. So it's got a great color dynamic because I guess it makes sense that if a purple creature, which I guess Oikawa is, were to have two creatures, you know, branch off from him, they would probably reflect the two primary colors that were used to make purple. I don't know if that whole thing was intentional or not, or if I'm just looking really too deep into this, but I like to think that it was. So design-wise, they all get an A+. Moving on to the next reason. I think these three have easily the best visuals, on average, in their scenes than any other character in this season. Now, I will admit, I'm kind of weird where I'll just like something. I can't explain why I like the way something looks, but I just will. And sometimes it's not even anything that's like too remarkable. Like for an example, outside of Digimon, and sorry for the video quality, but Fox has a pretty tight lid on these type of clips. There's a scene in the 5th season, 2nd episode of The Simpsons where Sideshow Bob is storming onto the houseboat where the Simpsons are, and he uses his machete to cut the ropes. But the part of the scene that I love, for some ungodly reason, is the fact that he uses his foot to help free the machete blade from the railing. Now, I don't know why that small little thing just stuck with me, but it did, and it's giving you a little insight on how I think, or at least things that I like. Now, I'm not going to list every visual that I liked because that would take too long, but I'm going to mention just real quick a couple that I did like. I really, really liked that visual of Arukenimon fully clothed, laying in a bathtub full of water, just apparently like kind of detoxing after a rough day, and it's like on top of this mountain or this cliff. I like the visual of Mummymon just sitting on a swing set for some. I always thought that was adorable, even if it's meant to be and is creepy. I like that visual of Oikawa and Arukenimon standing at a window in their dark room when it's contrasted to this like huge, very bright world outside, like with that pure white window. And then there's all the scenes where Arukenimon and Mummymon are kidnapping the kids. As I already mentioned, like Mummymon on the swings, but also Arukenimon with that pinwheel for some reason I really liked. I also love it whenever things like kind of reflected off into Arukenimon's glasses. And then there's just a bunch of small little like character things that I liked. For example, I love the fact Mummymon cooks. I love the fact that Arukenimon chews her hair and kind of chews her finger a little bit. I saw a little Tumblr post that pointed out that this could be a trait that Arukenimon may have inherited from Oikawa, because in the later scene, he's shown doing that. I thought that was a bit of a stretch, but I like that kind of thinking. And I really love, for some strange reason, the fact that Oikawa can type with one hand. I don't know why I like seeing Oikawa do that so much, but I do. And then there's the car chase. Oh god, I love the car chase so much, just for visual purposes. And also, no, actually, we're going to save that for the next reason why I love these characters. And that is this sort of group feeling that I get with them. Now, I'm not going to lie, my view of how this group operates and the chemistry within it has been permanently and irreversibly corrupted by the large amount of fan art of these three. Well, actually these four, because quite a few of these drawings have a Blackwood Greymon in them. But anyway, I like to believe that these three are genuinely friends. And I know there's like almost no evidence to support this in the show, and this is mostly just the fans' interpretation and the fans' headcanon on their relationship. Because in the show, it just seems like they all kind of mildly hate each other. But I like to believe that they do kind of like each other, and that they are friends in some capacity. And this sounds crazy now that I'm saying it out loud, but I like watching them trying to look for ways to validate my opinion on how I feel these characters act towards each other and treat each other off camera or before, before O2 started. In that like in-between time between this and this. I like to imagine that Arukenimon and Mummymon had little adventures and formed some type of bond with each other. Hell, maybe in one of these adventures it explains why Mummymon is so desperately in love with Arukenimon. One of the things I use to kind of validate my opinions is just how coordinated Arukenimon and Mummymon are together when fighting. Like, there's this little position that they do when needing to drop down like great heights, where Mummymon will sit on the back of Arukenimon as she propels them downward. Now, to me, that shows they have good teamwork skills, and maybe they used that move before. Maybe they used it when fighting some other foe that we did not see because it happened off screen.